My stepdad used to say the best way to know a thing, Dad, is to take it apart, put it back together. Then you can see what it's really made of.
You should take your dad's advice. Break yourself down. See what you're made of.
Here goes nothing. If I'm gonna protect people, I gotta start thinking outside the box.
Out of all the things you could have built, with that big brain of yours, why this?
Because I have to.
Might be a hero in there after all.
Riri, time to wake up, love. What are you?
Your greatest creation yet.
Who the hell else would it be, bitch?
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel dropped a brand new Ironheart trailer. There's a bunch of references here to some deleted scenes from Avengers Infinity War with Iron Man becoming the Sorcerer Supreme briefly, and some comics where Tony Stark did this. And I believe they're actually doing this to introduce some concepts that they're going to pay off with the Doctor Doom character because of the way he's a man of both technology and a man of magic. Like, you actually see her heads-up display with a bunch of magic spells weaved into her Iron Man armors. I believe that's basically going to be what Doctor Doom looks like on screen. Also kind of curious if this magic-based plot is going to feed into what's happening in Doctor Strange 3, if they are still going to do that movie. There's a bunch of stuff going on here too. There's also some references, I think, to some characters that they were intending on putting on some other shows that they have since canceled, like the Strange Academy show with the Zelma Stanton character. I think that's the girl who's weaving the spells into her armor. While this is also happening, we're also giving away tickets for the Fantastic Four movie. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just post all your predictions in the comments below based on this new trailer footage. Not for Fantastic Four, obviously this has nothing to do with the Fantastic Four movie. But one of the big connections here to deleted Iron Man scenes, Doctor Strange scenes during Avengers Infinity War, is that during that movie, when you actually see him rescue Doctor Strange from the Black Order, from Ebony Maw, the whole idea is that he was briefly meant to wear the Cloak of Levitation, while at the same time he was saving Doctor Strange from Ebony Maw, he actually gave his Iron Man nanites for his armor suit to Doctor Strange, which formed an armor suit around him, around his Eye of Agamotto, which after they called him the Iron Mage. So the whole reference there was, what if Doctor Strange had become Iron Man? What if Iron Man had become Doctor Strange?
What is your job exactly besides making balloon animals?
Protecting your reality, douchebag.
They even filmed the scene and everything. Like, this is real footage. This is him wearing the Cloak of Levitation. This is Doctor Strange wearing part of the Iron Man armor for reference because they did a lot of that during special effects. The Russo said the reason why they deleted that scene from Avengers Infinity War is just because so much stuff got deleted from that. Like, there's like a whole other movie or another 2 movies inside that movie that they worked on. And it was still a crazy long movie, and a lot of those characters felt like they got short shrift. So there's so many deleted scenes from both Infinity War and Endgame. I've already done many videos about all those deleted scenes in the years since those came out, so I'll post some links down in the description below. But one of the big things that Marvel does is that when it deletes big scenes like that, big concepts or big payoffs that it intends on doing, is they just save those twists for future movies, future payoffs. When they announced that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as a version of Doctor Doom, one of Doctor Doom's key abilities is that he is both a man of magic and technology. He uses the best of both worlds to be even more powerful than he could be just being a man of technology wearing an armor suit like Tony Stark, Iron Man, or just being a man of magic like Doctor Strange. It's one of the reasons why the Doctor Doom character is so versatile. He works in both Doctor Strange magic-based stories and in technology Iron Man-based types of stories. So when his Doctor Doom comes to the MCU during Avengers Doomsday, just starts wiping the floor with all the MCU characters, he'll be using spells like this, like weaving spells into his magical armor. We will see how much parody they have with the way they filmed a lot of the Iron Man scenes. Like, will he actually have heads-up display types of scenes like Iron Man did, like they're doing for Riri Williams here with the spells inside her armor? But that's basically what they did during the What If comic book, where Tony Stark did actually go through the origin story in Kamar-Taj and become the next Sorcerer Supreme, actually weaving spells into his magical armor, fighting demons. When it actually comes to this series, though, this actually ties more to what's happening with the Hood, and because of the red magical spell energy, what they might have done is they actually might have substituted the Dormammu character for Mephisto. So originally, Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to have filmed some scenes for this, and it seems like they were supposed to explain that he was actually getting his magical power from Mephisto, who was going to be double-crossing him secretly because Mephisto.
And then we'll laugh. High five.
But because of the red magical spell energy, they could have just substituted Dormammu for that, because basically the same thing happened during the first Doctor Strange movie with Caecilius and his followers. They got magical power from Dormammu, who is secretly just taking advantage of them like Dormammu does to everyone else too. So they could have just retooled it behind the scenes in that period. Like, no, we don't want to do Mephisto anymore. We're not going to pay off all the Mephisto jokes from years ago. So we will see. Everybody prepare your memes, have them ready to go. But at the beginning of the new trailer footage, she actually talks about her history with her stepdad in tearing things apart to learn more about them. And Zeke Stane, played by Alden Ehrenreich, big references to Obadiah Stane, talks about her relationship with her father. This might be a path to him explaining his relationship with his father, Obadiah Stane, and what that legacy is going to be like during the movie. He suggests tearing herself apart to learn what she herself is made of. My assumption is they're trying to position him like a bit of a red herring because the Hood is supposed to be the main antagonist of the series to Riri Williams. But at least the way they're positioning him at the beginning of the series here, she actually gets kicked out of MIT, goes back to Chicago, and she needs money to actually build her Iron Man armors the way she wants to. And the Hood is basically like, well, I can give you that money, but we gotta rob a whole bunch of different businesses. Now, it's not totally clear which businesses they're robbing, like which tech businesses or why he wants to rob them, but that's sort of the gist of how things go here, where like she explains to him why she's doing this and how she doesn't want to be a bad person and why they're robbing stuff. Are they meant to be more like Ocean's 11 or The Sopranos? Because Ocean's 11, they were actually trying to do something good with the robbery, but The Sopranos, I think she's trying to say we're a group of bad people, like a group of the mob doing a bunch of terrible stuff. Like, are they robbing people for money's sake, or are they doing it for a good cause? When you hear her banging on the anvil in the trailer, that's meant to be a reference to Iron Man banging on the anvil during the Iron Man 1 movie, like the very iconic Iron Man scene. It's actually the way they ended Avengers Endgame. There wasn't a traditional post-credit scene, but they did have, like the very end where you would normally see the post-credit scene, they had the Iron Man banging sound. Basically a reference to him banging the MCU into existence with that first movie and wringing it out, so to speak. We will see if they have a moment like that for the Doctor Doom character when his Robert Downey Jr. version of the character shows up. Seems like there are going to be some flashbacks to her with her stepdad, who's probably dead in present day. Also, the other person you see in the flashbacks and the AI of hers you see in the future, I think is meant to be a version of Natalie from the comics, who becomes her AI eventually in the comics. She's meant to be based on Natalie Washington, her childhood best friend, who died in front of her when she was 13. So I think that's why in present day, like when she's an adult, she's surprised when it shows up. Like, who are you? What's going on here? This is a bit of a pivot to the progression of her character in the comics, who started out with Tony Stark as her AI in a period when Tony Stark was supposed to have been dead, even though technically his body was just on ice, just like in a very low-level state, waiting to actually come back. So for a while, when Brian Michael Bendis introduced her character in the comics for the first time, you had snarky Tony Stark AI in her ear, the way that you hear Jarvis inside Iron Man's ear or Friday. They make it a point to remind you that Ryan Coogler was an executive producer on the series and did some creative work. I don't know how much work he did on the series, but I think he's getting credit because he originated the Riri Williams character in live action during Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which they also want to tie this to because they want to tie her character more to that than they do to Iron Man's origin story. Even though at some point the people behind Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, besides Ryan Coogler, did say that Riri Williams had a special connection with Tony Stark in the MCU in live action, but they didn't really dig into that or explain it fully, so maybe they'll reference that during the series. Just because when Shuri shows up and sees her Mark I armor, she's like, is this Stark tech that you're actually basing this on? And that's like the last they talk about it. They never mentioned it again. When one of the Hood's henchmen hands her the Desperitos pizza card, it might be a Despair reference in the comics. They actually did a version of the character in live action during the Cloak and Dagger TV show in the final season. He's one of Marvel's Fear Lords. They're a group of characters who derive their power from the fear in other beings. He's the cousin of demons like Nightmare, who is also one of the Fear Lords. This other new suit that they actually weave the spells into is meant to be her Mark III suit, but then I think she makes a Mark IV, or there's another white suit that you see during the trailers that she makes. That might be the one that she makes inside MIT, or she might make that at the very end of the series. So at least by the end of the series, she will have a Mark IV. We see a couple scenes of what seemed like Zelma Stanton, I think that's who this is, weaving magic into her armor. Like you see the armor disappearing inside the little glass here, like they're experimenting on it. Like, can we actually bind magic to your armor?
I've come to bargain.
All these scenes of Anthony Ramos's Hood character with the darkness spreading over his back here might just seem like the cost of magic, like this is the price he's paying for the power that he's given by whoever is behind this, like whoever's pulling the strings, Mephisto or Dormammu or whoever they've substituted for that character. Then they haven't said exactly how they're going to release all the episodes. It's either going to be 3 episodes on the first day, and then the second week they might drop all 3 for like a 2-week binge drop, or they might do weekly after the first 3 for 6 total. It's only 6 episodes total. But I think the idea with the progression is that she actually falls in with the Hood's crew. They start robbing people. She gets money to work on her armors, but then grows disillusioned and finds out that they're actually just robbing people because he wants more power, more money. So she tries to break with him, and that leads to them butting heads, becomes her big villain, and then they basically just fight it out for the rest of the series. What'll probably happen though, because they already canceled a lot of the Strange Academy TV show stuff that they were setting up and a lot of the other stuff, but I still believe they're doing the Young Avengers project. So what they might do is just have a scene at the end of this, like a post-credit scene, where either Miss Marvel or one of the other characters shows up to recruit her for the Young Avengers, and that'll be what they tease next. Like, it won't be an Avengers Doomsday teaser, it'll be a Young Avengers teaser. I believe the first actual time we'll see Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom in live action will be at some point at the very end of the Fantastic Four movie, or maybe in the post-credit scene. But if there's any other Easter eggs or references or theories about this that you spotted that I didn't talk about during the video, write them below during the comments, and we'll probably get a little bit more footage from this, but it is meant to be a little bit separate from what's happening in Fantastic Four in the next couple of weeks. Gonna be a real big June, July with Fantastic Four and Superman also coming out right now. That's where most of the attention is right now. I just did another real big Superman video. Click here for that, and click here for all my Fantastic Four videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.